Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome to HeCsUsAll YouTube channel. Today, we're going to talk about Mandela effects and perceptions of reality. I put together some Mandela effects. I put together one that was new to me. We're kind of just going to go over those. It's definitely a phenomenon either way, whether you're experiencing it or not. It's still something that's going on because there's a large majority of the population that is experiencing it. So I am going to quickly just explain it for anyone who might not be aware of what it is. The Mandela Effect is a phenomenon in which a group of people remember an event occurring differently than it actually did, or remember an event that never actually occurred at all, which I have one of those in there that I have a big problem with myself personally. The term was coined after Nelson Mandela, the legendary excuse me when I say this, what this means is anti-segregation. Not really good at pronouncing that word, so I'm just going to skip it. An anti-segregation political leader and former president of South Africa, who many people remember dying in the 1980s. I am one of those people. I remember learning that he died in prison, that he was stabbed. And what's weird is I kind of have a memory that he got sick in prison and died too. There's like a double memory there for me. But even though he actually died in 2013, there are a number of theories that attempt to explain the Mandela effect, including the theory of parallel universes, which maybe, time travel, which also maybe, and false memories, which I don't believe for reasons that I'll explain to you soon. So I have a few of them together here for you guys. So first, we have the Berenstain Bears. Berenstein. Now, this leaked through with The Simpsons. In The Simpsons episode, when Homer held the book, it said the Berenstain Bears. When I was a kid, I used to have arguments with other little kids, my god sister in particular, about the spelling of that, whether it was Steen or Stein. Now, I remember these little arguments that we used to have back and forth, and if it was Stain, like if it was always Stain, I don't think those arguments would have existed at all. I'm sorry if I'm lagging a little bit. I'm going to try to fix that for you guys soon. I got to like drill a hole through my ceiling and drop a wire down. So we're going to just have to deal with that for a bit. Now, these are ones most of us know. Pretty sure. Curious George. I remember this Curious George in particular, but I do remember him with a tail. Apparently he never had one. And then we have like modern day Curious George. I guess people remember that as well with a tail. Fruit of the Loom with the cornucopia. That's how it was when I was a kid. And Fruit of the Loom swears that they never had a cornucopia. Apparently, I think it was in like 2020 on April Fool's Day, they changed their website so that it did have a cornucopia, kind of like, you know, gaslighting everybody who's experiencing this. Personally, is what I think. And then this one, me and my husband were talking about before I came down here, Oscar Mayer. Now, when I was a kid, we all sang that song, you know, my baloney has a first name, it's Oscar. My baloney has a last name, it's Meyer. I eat my baloney every day, and my mom says that that's okay, because Oscar Mayer has a way of Bologna. I'm not going to lie, when I spell baloney still to this day, like I sing baloney in my head as I spell it because of the song. Now, it's not Oscar Mayer, it's Oscar Mayer, not Oscar Mayer. It's Mayer, and it's always been Mayer. And what's funny is this image, when I look at it, like the Mayer one looks photoshopped to me, but it's always been spelt with an A. So I'm just going through like a list of some of them first. Now, what's funny too is when I went to search the proper way of spelling it, because you know, I was just looking it up. When I started typing it, if you look at the top result, it shows the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, you know, the big hot dog car that drives around. But the spelling is Meyer. Now, when I clicked on that site, though, it spelled it Mayer. It's just interesting to me that you see like Oscar Mayer Wienermobile for sale, Oscar Mayer Wienermobile whistle, like it's being spelt that way constantly. So again, if it's a lot of people are experiencing this. Now, this one I kind of go back and forth with. Sometimes I wonder if people are mixing it with Mr. Peanut, but I don't deny that people remember him with a monocle. I'm not sure that I do, but it's weird. It's weird how the Mandela effect works. Some people experience some things that other people don't, and that's what's really strange about it to me. And it makes me feel like it's got something to do with like multiple realities and other versions of us possibly walking around, uh, with the same DNA structure. And because we're nearing the times, shall I say, um, maybe things are just starting to collide now. Maybe it's like how things end, they come back together. I said this in another video. Like my mind goes crazy with some of this stuff, honestly. I probably sound insane, but that's okay. So Kit Kat, I believe, does not have a hyphen today. See, I kind of remember it with one, but I think that this one it doesn't have one. I think that's now this one for me, the Shazam movie. Oh, I didn't pause that. So the Shazam movie, that one really bothers me because Shazam is a movie that I owned on VHS personally. And I watched it many, many times. I was one of those kids that was very sorry, you guys aren't on the right screen there. There we go. I was one of those kids that was very like A team, B team, like Coke or Pepsi. You had to pick one, right? So Shazam came out first, and then Kazam came out, and I think Shaq was in that or something. And I refused to watch Kazam because to me, I felt like it was the generic movie of Shazam. Now, again, I've seen this movie so many times growing up that this one kind of like really takes me back, kind of like the Berenstain Bears. Uh, I had this movie. I watched it over and over again. I would not see the other movie because I thought that it was like the fake version of Sinbad. A lot of people too that I guess have like they remember Shazam and they also saw Kazam said that they remember Shazam being like such a better movie and Kazam was like just not as good quality. Now, Britney Spears, this one's the new Mandela effect in her Oops, I Did It Again video. I have clips of that video, but I pulled all the sound out for obvious reasons. I do, I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to put it like it's a question. I remember her having the headset throughout the whole video. She had a headset on. And what's interesting is I captured in her music video, the one that you can watch and on, just on YouTube, whatever, her like the legit way to watch the music video. She doesn't have a headset on at all, but I captured 3 different moments where you can clearly see where she would touch it, like during the music video, and she's touching something that's not there. So that's what makes this really odd to me. And I have those. And also, when Britney Spears' song came out and they made the doll included the headset. So why would the headset be in there if it was never a thing? There are leaks. That's what's interesting about the Mandela effect to me. And that's what brings me back and forth between whether could it be parallel realities or could it be that it's a time travel thing and these are like ripple effects. Because there's evidence sometimes that's left behind. Now, I guess some Victoria's Secret model dressed up like Britney Spears for okay, I lost that one. For Halloween one year. And it even says, okay, it even says that she used the signature microphone headset. So many people remember the video a very specific way. She never had one. This was one of the parts, I think, where it looked like she was going to grab it. These are the videos right there. It looks, she had like grabbed the headset when she was singing. I slowed these down for you guys. Again, right here, she's gonna right there. She's grabbing the headset, and they reversed like where the headset was on her head during the video. And then here, this was a moment where she grabbed the mic of the headset and then did like a drop. So that's definitely different. And the leak is there. Like, you can see her grabbing the headset. You can see her. There's evidence that's left behind. So these are the things that like really boggle my mind. It's like we're rewriting reality. Sinbad swears to God he never did that movie. I had the movie. Like, I wish I still did, but it was a VHS. Like, I don't have one VHS that I've ever owned in my entire life. So I think for some reason that these two things are related. I'm kind of going to be a little all over the place with this video, but I feel like all of this is related in a sense, because I do, like I said, bounce back and forth between whether we're in a simulation or even whether we figured out time travel. And every time physicists have thought that if we were to time travel, that we would create, just do this for a second. I'm sorry about the lagging. Physicists thought if we were to time travel, that we wouldn't actually time travel back to our own universe, that it would create, in a sense, like a pocket universe or a copy of our universe to prevent a paradox and like a destruction of reality, in a sense, right? So if someone were to time travel, they would go back in time and then create their own reality just like ours, but it would cause a ripple effect and it would be slightly different. So I put a lot of things together that kind of don't seem like they go together, but to me, I feel like they do. Remember that dress, like probably like 10 years ago now, that white and gold, blue and black, what color was it? It was on the news. They like had people taking surveys on the internet. They wanted to know what people saw. I feel like that dress was a test, and they were testing to see how well people were handling these shifts, so shall we say, right? So here's the dress. Now, when this first happened, oh, I'm sorry, I got to show. Okay, so here's the dress, right? When this first happened, I could only see this as white and gold. I couldn't see it as blue and black at all, no matter how hard I tried. My husband, on the other hand, saw it as blue and black. Now, today, when I look at this dress, I first see it as white and gold, but if I look at it for like 5 seconds, like I'm already seeing it as blue and black. It turns blue and black to me. Now, I don't know if that's because I know it's blue and black, but back then when it first happened, I would tell myself it's blue and black, and I could still only see white and gold. So I feel like they were running a test. Now, some years went by, right? And after the dress, I'm just going to show you guys like what, in case you can't see the blue and black on the right, that's what the dress actually looks like. On the left, they kind of put more light into it. Now, after the dress, though, these popped up on the internet. And we're talking, these were probably, I want to say 3 to 5 years ago at most. Now, what color do you guys see these shoes? People see them two different ways. When I first look at these shoes, I see gray and green. But when I look at them for, it's about 5 seconds, they turn pink and white. The shoes are pink and white. So I don't know if a shift is happening. And for my husband, he had already shifted because he sees things the proper way, what the image really is. But I feel for some reason that this is tied to the Mandela effect, is tied to whether or not it's parallel realities or whatever. These are tests that they're running. These shoes went almost as viral as the dress. Probably not as viral, but almost. Now, this, okay, this, I'm going to have to mute my mic. This is the video that I pulled up that I feel personally, it doesn't seem like it's related, but it is, because it's like what we were talking about in one of my past streams where I said, with some of their way of thinking, like if they would just think more outside of the box, I feel like they would figure things out. And they kind of say that in this video. I'll link this video below when this stream is over. It's about an 8-minute video. I'm going to stop it a couple times, obviously. But it's really interesting. And to me, it's also tied to how real reality is. Again, whether or not we live in some kind of simulation and patches are being made and that's what's happening, or there's multiple realities, or it's ripples in time and some kind of, something happening because someone went back in time, changed something, and it just drastically changed. It could be a number of things, right? Whether it be any of those things, it doesn't disprove God in any way. Even with CERN, when they first started figuring things out and they had the, you know, the theoretical Higgs boson particle, then they found the particle, they figured out that even, so they made this thing hoping they'd figure out that the universe was like, it just happened, right? What they ended up figuring out is that somebody had to flip a switch. So even if it's, we're living in some, it doesn't disprove God in any way. Our soul is something different. Our body is a vessel that's explained to us. This is an experience we're supposed to have, that we're supposed to live. We're doing it to better our souls in some way. So whether this is real or not doesn't matter, is what I think. And it's like I said, the way physicists and scientists think today is like, if a tree was falling in the woods, if nobody saw it happen, then it could have always been in that state. Like, they've got to get out of that mind state. And this video is really interesting, so we're gonna watch this. Let me mute my mic. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me see, just a second. All right, I think I got this. So you guys didn't hear that. Well, you heard me. That's right. That's right. All right. All right.
Is there an external reality? Of course, there's an external reality. The world
Let
exists.
me know if you hear this.
It is. We can never see it as it is. In fact, it's even useful to not see it as it is. And the reason is because we have no direct access to that physical world other than through our senses. And because our senses conflate multiple aspects of that world, we can never know whether our perceptions are in any way accurate. It's not so much do we see the world in the way that it really is, but do we actually even see it accurately? And the answer is no, we don't.
However paradoxical it sounds, if we think of what is visible as just what projects to the eyes, we see much more than is visible. Let me give you an example. I walk into a room and there's graffiti on the wall. And imagine it's graffiti that I find really offensive. I look at it, I flush, my heart starts to race, I'm outraged, I'm taken aback. Of course, if I didn't know the language in which it was written, I could have had exactly the same retinal events and the same events in my early visual system without any corresponding reaction. Much more shows up for us than just what projects into our nervous system.
Our senses are also making up the tastes, odors, and colors that we experience. They're not properties of an objective reality. They're actually properties of our senses that they're fabricating. By objective reality, I mean what most physicists would mean, and that is that something is objectively real if it would continue to exist, even if there were no creatures to perceive it. Colors, odors, tastes, and so on are not real in that sense of objective reality. They are real in a different sense. They're real experiences. Your headache is a real experience, even though it could not exist without you perceiving it. So it exists in a different way than the objective reality that physicists talk about. We always assume that our senses are telling us the truth. So it was quite a stunning shock to me when I realized that it's not just tastes, odors, and colors that are the fabrications of our senses and are not objectively real. Space-time itself and everything within space-time, objects, electrons, quarks, the sun, the moon, their shapes, their masses, their velocities, all of these physical properties are also constructions.
Sometimes it's really difficult for people to understand that the data that your brain is receiving is meaningless, because when they open their eyes, they look around and say, well, I see everything. What do you mean it's meaningless? A really simple example is color.
Scientific knowledge of what light is shows us that our natural perception leaves a lot on the table. The human perception of color is limited really by the principles of quantum mechanics. It's interesting to compare the human perception of color to the perception of sound. When you have two pure tones together, like a C and a G, a simple chord that's a fifth, if you hear that, you can hear the separate tones even though they're played together, and you hear a chord, you can also sense the separate tones. Whereas with colors, if you have two different colors, say spectral green and spectral red, and mix them, what you see is not a chord where you can see the distinct identities preserved, but rather an intermediate color. In fact, you'll see something that looks like yellow.
I hope I'm not echoing still. But I just wanted to say, red and green, they don't make yellow. They make a nasty brown.
It's as if in music, when you played a C and a G together, instead of hearing a chord, you just heard the note E, the intermediate note.
So at this most basic level, we don't represent even the information we're getting in any accurate way. And the reason is
Now, this is why I'm finding this video so interesting. It's saying that, I think you guys were hearing my headphones when I pull them back. It's saying that, that the way we receive information, everybody receives it differently. We all experience reality. So to say that there are multiple well, the D wave is already proved that there are definitely other realities because we take energy from them. But this video to me was saying, in a sense, that we like everything can exist without being observed. And perception changes for everybody. Sorry. Hold on.
is because it was useful to see it this way. So we're seeing the utility of the data, not the data.
Evolution by natural selection has shaped us with perceptions that are designed to keep us alive. So if I see a snake, don't pick it up. If I see a cliff, don't jump off. If I see a train, don't step in front of it. We have to take our perceptions seriously, but that does not entitle us to take them literally.
Perception itself, a perspective on something defined by perception, is inherently a reduction of the information of the thing. My perspective of it is going to be a lot less total information.
To take them literally.
Perception
I'll be fine
itself,
one day.
perspective on something defined by perception, is inherently a reduction of the information of the thing. My perspective of it is going to be a
So
lot
sorry,
less
guys.
total information than the actual thing is. I can look at the object from the east side, or the west side, or the top, or the north side, or the inside, microscopically, telescopically. They'll all give me different information. None will give me the entirety of the information about the situation. So there is no all-encompassing perspective that gives me all of the information about almost any situation. What this means is that reality itself is transperspectival. It can't be captured in any perspective. So multiple perspectives have to be taken, all of which will have some part of the reality, some signal. There may also be distortion. I may be looking at the thing through a fisheye lens or through a colored lens that creates some distortion. Why does this matter? The ability to take multiple perspectives, to see the partial truth in them, and then to be able to seam them together into something that isn't a perspective. It's a trans-perspective capacity to hold the relationships between many perspectives in a way that can inform our choice making, is fundamental to navigating reality well.
How is it that we make claims of truth? And how would we begin to know if what we think is true is actually true? This is the beginning of the scientific method. Let us begin with observation, pose a question, figure out what the hypothesis would be that would answer a particular question, and then figure out how we would begin to address the hypothesis. That is a scientific approach to questions that could be addressed any number of ways.
There is a kind of whispering campaign against the value of objective truth. Science's belief in objective truth works. Engineering technology based upon the science of objective truth achieves results. It manages to build planes that get off the ground. It manages to send people to the moon and explore Mars with robotic vehicles on comets. Science works. Science produces.
I don't personally know how much of that they manage.
Antibiotics, vaccines that work. So anybody who chooses to say, oh, there's no such thing as objective truth, it's all subjective, it's all socially constructed, tell that to a doctor, tell that to a space scientist. Manifestly, science works, and the view that there is no such thing as objective truth doesn't.
When you write down the theory then becomes your teacher. It becomes smarter than you in a way. When Einstein wrote down the equations of general relativity, he did not know that they entailed the existence of black holes. In that sense, the equations were smarter than Einstein. Einstein didn't believe in black holes for decades. The equations were very clear that they could exist. Einstein said no. Turned out Einstein was wrong and the equations were right. So it's very interesting. We do these theories because we can learn from them.
When you try to address the nature of things, you may find that asking different questions requires different ways of processing the underlying reality. For instance, in understanding the human mind, to understand it physically requires one kind of processing, and there's every reason to think that we already have fundamental physical laws that are adequate to that kind of treatment. But to understand how a person works, how thought processes, moods, and so forth add up to a personality and a human actor will require quite different ways of understanding and quite different ways of processing the underlying information structure.
Okay. So was it, you can hear me now, right? Probably just going to delete this whole stream. The problem is that I have 2 computers going, and last week it worked just fine. The first time I tried to use it, they were echoing back for whatever reason. I do have it muted, and I'm only sharing the audio of the video. I had my mic muted, but maybe when I'm muting this, it's not muting the mic on my, thank you for that, Kenny. I have the echo cancellation on, though. I did that. So I don't know if it'll just be better if I run it through just one. Do you want me to play that video again? It's only like 8 minutes long. I can run it through this and there won't be an echo. I don't know how much of it you guys heard. It was basically talking about how we sorry, I was just reading the chat. It was basically talking about how we perceive reality and how they're saying really that like if there's nobody experiencing it, then it doesn't really exist. The video was all right. Okay. So perfect. Okay. I'm going to do it different next week. I'm sorry about that. This is so different for me to do it this way. And I'm just not going to use that other computer. It'll probably not lag as bad either. I feel like that I saw that today, just happened to see it, and it feels to me so related to the Mandela effect. The whether or not we're existing in multiple realities, whether or not we're branching off and creating realities, as someone's going back in time and changing things. Listen, that Sinbad movie, I had that movie. Sinbad's gone on camera saying that he absolutely positively never starred in a movie called Shazam. I actually have I have a list of Mandela effects that were put up on Yahoo just yesterday, which is kind of interesting. So I can pull them. There are a lot of them, or a couple of them are ones I showed you guys anyway. But okay. So, all right, here we go. This I just happened across today while I was just looking up different Mandela effects. You know, it talks about Mandela effects themselves, you know, what the people, their false memories, obviously, is what they claim it to be. It can't be. There can't be that many people. And even me and Richie were talking about the fact that this has probably been going on all along. Like people have probably been experiencing these things all along. Like I would, as an adult, I would have never thought about Shazam if it wasn't for the internet. Because people are so connected now, people are realizing things that were probably already happening and we just weren't noticing it. Nobody was not like it. Everything was word of mouth back in the day. You know, this technology, the way it is today, hasn't existed that long. Like I'm not that old. And, you know, when I was 15, it was not like it is today. So I didn't even have a cell phone yet. But of course, they come out saying that it's false memories. So apparently, Shaggy never had an Adam's apple, which is strange because he used to do that weird swallowing thing all the time. That was a new one to me. The Raisin Bran son never wore sunglasses like on any box ever. So if you remember it like that, that's not how it is. And then Lamb Chops, this is the song that never ends. It goes on and on, my friend. You know, that every little kid just sings so much that everyone knows it. It doesn't go that way. It's the song that doesn't end. I just thought it was funny that this just popped up on Yahoo yesterday, and I was already planning on doing this with you guys today. Everybody knows the Febreze one, I'm sure. That it's never been Febreze, it's Febreze. Go get me some Febreze. And Ricky never said, Lucy, you got some splaining to do, which is odd, right? Because everyone remembers that. Okay, so the Kit Kat, there we go. I couldn't remember because I'm like, I don't know which way it looks because I thought that it had the hyphen, but it doesn't. And I thought that Coca-Cola didn't have a hyphen, and it does. So then the Oscar Mayer, Sex in the City. It's not Sex in the City, it's Sex and the City. And there were some like Grammy Awards and stuff. And even when they're giving the Grammy out, he's like, Sex in the City. Like, so there are leaks, which is really interesting to me. But again, like, would anybody notice this if the world didn't talk to each other the way it does now? And I think that's also a part of like we're reaching kind of an end of something here. You know, an end of an age, an end of a chapter, but things are going to get hard first. The Monopoly Man and the monocle, the Berenstain Bears, Berenstain, not Steen. So all those arguments I had about whether it was Steen or Stein, I guess those just didn't happen. Curious George never had a tail. I guess the Mona Lisa's changed to some people. I haven't looked at it like hard enough to know whether or not that's what I mean. Like, would people notice this if it wasn't for the internet? Like, maybe it's been happening the whole time. Sinbad, you know, liar. He's got to remember. He remembers. He's just confused. That's probably why Britney Spears went crazy. Because even when she redresses herself up to look like she did in those certain videos, she's wearing the headset, and she's wearing there's another Mandela Effect from another one of her videos. I don't remember, but she was wearing that schoolgirl outfit with the plaid skirt. Apparently it's not plaid, it's black. When she dressed up redressed up in that outfit as a much older woman, you know, Britney has a lot of issues, but she wore a plaid skirt, excuse me. So that, you know, those things kind of, I wonder, like, did she lose her shit? Because, you know, she remembers doing things and now is watching these videos and is like, I never did that. That's not me. Like, because she's lost her shit, man. Or was it just all the brainwashing? Probably. Jiffy peanut butter, never been a thing. It's just Jif. And then objects in mirror are closer than they appear. I do remember them saying that they may be closer than they appear. I don't know if that's something that's changed though, because they are closer in the mirror. So I don't know if they just changed the wording on that. And then the Fruit of the Loom, we talked about that. And then they gaslighted everybody on April 1st. Cheez-It. It's never been Cheez-Its. It's just Cheez-It. You think it's Captain Crunch? It's actually Cap'n Crunch. No, it wasn't always written that way. Cap'n Crunch. There's a Sun-Kissed one. I wonder if that one's on here. Some people recall a Disney intro in which Tinkerbell flies across the screen and writes out the Disney, then dots it with the I with her hand. Yeah, that happened. Are they saying it didn't happen? But that's not what happens. See it here. Funyuns is spelt like fun youngs. Target. I don't remember the one on the right, and I guess that's the one people remember. I don't shop at Target either though. Like, I've only been there a few times, probably recently in the past like 5 years. So I do remember the left one. Toy Story, when Woody pulls his drawstring, he doesn't say there's a snake in my boot. He says boots, plural, despite many people remembering it singular. Pretty sure it was singular. It doesn't make sense that there'd be a snake in both his boots, but we'll just go with that. Oh yeah, I've heard this, that some people remember the lights being reversed. That's not a thing for me. I always remember red being on top, but I have heard of this one. I'm interested to know if any of you remember it the opposite way, because that's like a big one to me, like how Sinbad is to me. If I remembered the lights being reversed, like in my childhood or something, and like they must have changed at some point, that would be a big one to me. Some people don't remember South America being as far east as it appears on the world map. I don't either. I used to think it was like more right under Mexico, like Mexico connected somewhere. Yeah, like where that arrow is. That's where I thought Mexico connected. The Final Fantasy IV characters is named Blanc. There's a Final Fantasy named Blanc. My roommate and I even joked that it seemed very French. So I guess that's, I wouldn't know, but I guess people remember it being Blanc, but it's not. It's blank. So that's another one like the Berenstain Bears, right? Like if it was always Berenstain, there would be no like joke or banter about how, you know, like Steen or Stein. And so this one, if it was one for me, it would be a big one too, because if, oh, how French it sounds, Blanc, you know, like just joking about it and then finding out it's blank doesn't even make sense. Chick-fil-A, I used to think it was just without the K. I didn't think the K was there, but I guess it is. Pikachu definitely had a black stripe on his tail. Like Pikachu was a thing when I was in middle school. I wasn't into Pokemon cards, but it was everywhere. And Pikachu had black on his tail. Ed McMahon never did the prize awards for the public. What? Ed McMahon never did the prize awards for Publishers Clearinghouse. You know, the guy with the big checks that would knock on people's doors and they have the camera crew and all those people carrying all the balloons and stuff. You know, that guy specifically, he didn't do it ever. That's an interesting one. And this one, Henry VIII, I know there was a painting of him holding a freaking turkey leg, and that doesn't exist either. So, though there are many what if I told you memes, Morpheus never says this at any point in the Matrix. You know, the big scene of the movie, the biggest scene of all of the movie, what if I told you? And as he folds his hands, they got the image like right when he says it. That didn't happen. So Ben Franklin was never president. When I said this to my husband earlier, I was like, Richie, did you know Ben Franklin was never president? He's like, yeah, he was an inventor. I was like, oh. I was like, you know what? Honestly, just my opinion, I think the people would only think that because he's on money. And on money, everybody else is a president. So I think that's why people would think that. So what about stovetop? Stouffer's stovetop stuffing has apparently never existed. What? Okay, I've been really digging into Mandela Effects for years, and I didn't even hear this one. And I know for a fact Stouffer's had commercials for stuffing. Oh my God, this is going to ruin my night if that's not true. I don't know about that one. It sounds familiar, but it's like a vague, long lost. It's like a deja vu moment for me. It's not really there. Spider-Man is missing from the cartridges of a video game from the year 2000. While he's still seen on the box and manual covers, many believe he used to be on the cartridge as well, but vanished. I wouldn't know. Didn't have the game. Whiteout. This one. It wasn't misspelled. Like, I get it to misspell whiteout because you white things out that you misspell, but that looks ridiculous, and that's the way it looks. Double stuffed Oreos. Always only had one F. No, it didn't. Are they just adjusting things to dumb down society? Like, let's misspell things and make things look stupid and make people feel stupid. So society as a whole is just dumber, and it will be easier to control them when something really terrible, like a rock, slams into us or something from outer space. Just, yeah, you know, I don't know. Like, is this the plan? Just, I know it's the plan as far as like, you know, the 3-minute videos or 30-second videos and like how Vine was and TikTok. And now we got these shorts and it's on Facebook. Like it's to make people's attention span not last that long. That's why I try not to be up here for too long, because I know for a fact society as a whole doesn't have that great of an attention span. Like it's real easy to be like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this anymore. Skechers isn't spelt Skechers as some people remember it to be. It definitely had a T in it. Definitely did. Yeah, and then this one's weird to me too. Like C3PO wasn't 100% gold. He had a silver leg, which would like have stood out like a sore thumb. And there are many Star Wars movies, and I've never noticed the silver leg before. My dad loves Star Wars. I wonder what he thinks. Does he remember the silver leg? And the Fruit Loop spelling. Most people know that one. And then we have It's a Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood. The neighborhood. Oh, it's a beautiful day. I thought it was wonderful. Okay, so that's different to me in a couple of ways. Because I remember It's a Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood. And it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Oh, no, because it's not even that, though. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Anyway, that one's all over the place for me, but I don't remember it as It's a Beautiful Day in this neighborhood. And I definitely watched that when I was really little. And then Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Is not what he said. He said, and this is what's interesting, sometimes the changes are relevant, right? Forrest Gump said life was like a box of chocolates, like as in the before times, but not anymore. Life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, but not anymore, because now we know exactly what's going to happen before it happens, because AI has advanced so much that it can predict with good probability what people are going to do next. Like maybe AI is causing all this. I doubt it, because Gordy Rose said he was taking energy from other realities just as real as ours. So Hannibal Lecter never said, hello, Clarice. What? Yes, he did. When Clarice meets Hannibal, he simply says, good morning. Folks might be misremembering a line from Jim Carrey in The Cable Guy. No, I had a muzzle on a dog of ours once, just because we had 3 dogs and they were kind of getting into it. And I took a picture of them and I put it on Facebook and I put, hello, Clarice, because that's what Hannibal Lecter said. And then the Star Wars one, most people know, it is not Luke, I am your father. It's no, I am your father. Many people remember Smokey the Bear being named Smokey the Bear. Oh, wait. See, I read that wrong. That's great. Excuse me. So I remember it that way. Many people remember Smokey Bear. Smokey Bear. So he just sounds like some stoner bear, right? Like Smokey Bear being named Smokey the Bear. Like I just read it because that's what I thought it said, because that's what he was called. And wearing red suspenders. Yeah, he had suspenders on. Oh, look at this. Smokey's just out here half naked now. Like he was, that's because he's been smoking. He's like, it's hot out here. I gotta take my suspenders off. Nah, man. Nope. And then this one, a lot of people know, I believe. The Queen in Snow White never said, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? She says, magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? Thing about that is, there are leaks with this one. When you get the Disney book, I believe, it's like one of, those little books that they make. And you're reading the book, it says, mirror, mirror on the wall. So there are leaks, which is the most interesting part of this to me, is the leaks. Like sometimes I think I'm going to wake up one morning and I'm going to look outside. My car is going to be an entirely different color. That would be intense. But I mean, imagine if these things just started getting more and more intense like that. Interview with a Vampire is actually Interview with the Vampire. This is another one where they've given out an award and said Interview with a Vampire and said it wrong, I guess. Leaks. Some people remember Uncle Sam's hat being red and white, but it's actually blue and white. No, it's not. That doesn't look right. That's too much blue. It was red. I call my Uncle Sam Uncle Sam. I don't think he's watching though. So Looney Tunes is actually spelled Looney Tunes, not with the 2 O's. I do remember the 2 O's like cartoons, Looney Tunes, like they were loony cartoons. It was short for cartoons, but apparently it's spelled tunes like music or iTunes. Some remember Tony the Tiger's nose being black, but it's actually blue. I don't know. I didn't eat that cereal enough to have an opinion. The laughing cow. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. It does too. There's a nose ring right there. So this, I hate how they do this. They're showing the real image sometimes, and then they're showing the photoshopped image. Because this looks right to me. She had a nose ring, but it's saying they do not have a nose ring. My mom used to buy these for me when I was a kid, and I used to just eat the cheese. I used to open up the little triangles and just eat the cheese. But they're saying that it never had a nose ring. Definitely did. And the little cheese earrings. Sweet tarts spelt with 1 T. I kind of remember it that way. Cup o' noodles. Just wait. Wait. It's just cup noodles. Okay. Pixie sticks. Yep. That's wrong. They had an IE. That doesn't look right either. XY instead of IE. Remember Mike and Ike candies? They've always been named Mike and Ike. See, I'd like someone to have like a really old box of these, because sometimes I wonder if they're just really fucking with us as a whole, you know? Speaking of incorrect names, it's not Chuck E. Cheese's, it's Chuck E. Cheese's. Wait, what? It's Chuck E. Cheese's. Okay. Not only is the correct spelling of York Peppermint Patty, but the slogan is get the sensation, not feel the, get the sensation. Not feel the sensation like, you know, when you bite into it and it's nice and cool, feel the sensation. Get the sensation. You better get it. You better understand this, what's going on. I don't know, man. Some of these, some words, like the Forrest Gump one, it changing from life is like a box of chocolates to life was like a box of chocolates. Sometimes the words feel like they might mean something, like the change itself of what it was and what it is now. Because life is now very different, when we say. Do you love Rice Krispie treats? What about Rice Krispie cereal? Sorry, but the name has always been Rice Krispies. I spell it, well, I thought it was spelt with a Y. Crispy cereal. Rice Krispies. Oh, that looks odd. Okay. And then, so the Totino. Oh, you know what's funny? Because we were watching a video earlier that I was going to play, but I decided not to because he put a lot of like video clips in there and stuff. So we were watching that and they showed the pizza, Totino's pizza, right? And I was like, oh yeah, the pizza. I was like, I bet people are confusing those with the Tostino's. No, I didn't say pizza rolls. I said those taco ones, but it's probably the same brand as this. So I do remember the S being in there. Because I bet those taco roll things are the same brand as this. I doubt there's a brand that close. Or people would have realized that and it would be like, oh, you're thinking of this. So there's only one Cliff and Cliff Bars. Don't know. And that's over. But just wanted to show that to you guys. I don't know. Again, I think it's all connected in some way, and maybe this has been going on the whole time, but maybe we weren't supposed to notice. Maybe noticing in itself is causing its own ripple effect. Maybe us taking notice is changing something. Do you get what I'm saying? Maybe it's being done on purpose, and companies gaslighting people, like on April Fool's Day deciding to put the cornucopia behind the fruit, is definitely, it leads me to believe that there's reason behind this. The Shazam movie, I had it at my grandma's house. I used to stay at, like, my grandma lived downstairs from where we lived when I was a little girl, and I had a bunch of VHS tapes there that my Auntie Patty used to give me, and I definitely absolutely had Shazam, and I definitely watched it many, many times. So we've been on for a little while here. I do want to, how long have we been on? Where's the timer? There it is. Yeah, about an hour. I want to try to keep these short, even though this one was terrible the whole time anyway. I apologize for that. I'm going to try to fix that next time. I'm just going to use one computer and be kind of slow about things, I guess. Thank you all for joining me. Kenedigan, I'm glad you were here. I have some of the things you gave me up here, actually. If I can reach it. I've got this one, and I've got this one, and I have them behind me. So there's that. I put those there. Glad you were here so you can see that. Anyway, I'm going to keep it short. Video was awful. Probably not going to get views anyway because people are going to be like, oh my God, that echo is horrible. And that's that. I might delete it. But I will be back next Sunday. I'm going to be streaming every Sunday. If by some chance you're watching this far and not subscribed, because I'm pretty sure everybody that's here this far is subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you like what you see. I'll be just talking about random things every week, but I will be going live every Sunday. Sometime between 5 and 6:30, no later than 6:30. I got to work around the baby, so I'm doing what I can. But streams for now until I have a little bit more time. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. I love each and every one of you individually. And as always, stay aware, stay awake, and stay vigilant. Have a good night, everyone.